Hi. So this is different. I had some 3 a.m. thoughts yesterday, and being the work in progress content creator that I am now, I want to share them with you because the first thing that came to my mind when I was going through those thoughts was, you know what, this is going to make a fun episode. But here's a plot twist. My co host Labika is out today, and my one and only crew member is out on a vacation. So, which is why the setup looks a little different. And here we are. So I'm going to record this by myself and we'll just see how that goes. Worst case scenario, this episode just won't come out and that'll be it. Okay. So today, a few things that are same and a few things that are different. What's different is obviously the location of this episode because today we're doing it right on my couch. Um, the second thing that's different is my co-host is absent and it's just going to be like an awkward little conversation that I'm going to try. And the things that are same, me, my zero decks given mentality, and my two co-hosts today, which is my DIY drink and my sunflower. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, as much as the setting feels okay to talk about like random ass thoughts because I think having a drink, doing this in the evening and being by myself and maybe not just between us anymore now, but I think, yeah, it still feels awkward because, well, who am I talking to? Um, Obviously, you are there, but you're not here, right? So I love talking, but you know what? Cut it. Let's just get into it. Okay, so welcome to another episode of Zero Decks Given without my co host today. But here we are talking about some random thoughts that I had between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. last night. And all I could think of was, you know what, I gotta talk about this with someone. And another thought in my head was, I hope and I really believe that these aren't the thoughts that are there just in my head and probably a lot of other people go through. Here's a TLDR of what those thoughts look like. My very first thought that happened at about 3:11 a.m. last night was, am I being too authentic online and is it going to lead to just me being my one man army and nobody really relating to it? My second thought was, does everyone secretly really have a 5 year life plan and I'm just here without one? That got me panicky, by the way. My thought, this is a little embarrassing, but it was, do penguins have knees? And I'll tell you about it though. It's a fun conversation. My fourth question that occurred in my head was, why is my bank account looking like a joke to me on some days when I can see some friends of mine planning their new house or a new car by this point, and how I actually feel about that. And my fifth random 3 a.m. thought was, am I choosing work over people? And how is that really helping me in my life? So, yeah. And you know what? This is feeling a little awkward. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my, I don't know, something to doodle on so that it stops feeling less awkward. And I think you're going to have a better understanding of what I talk about. So, I think it'll be better for you and it'll be less awkward for me. So, I guess it'll be a win win. But, anywho, cheers to that. This feels much better because I think now we can finally turn our 3 a.m. anxiety into an attempt at art journaling, and I think that's going to be pretty fun. So, and I'm going to screen record this so that you can like see it once I'm done here. Um, you know what? While I was grabbing the iPad, I was just thinking that your 3 a.m. thoughts aren't really something that you should be worried about or like feel that this is something that's a big problem that you need to solve, because honestly, when you think about it, they're maybe just your brain's way of telling you that, you know what, this is the time to keep a check on yourself and just maybe see how you feel about life, and act on certain things that might not feel right. Your 3 a.m. thoughts aren't really your problems to solve. Maybe it's your brain's way of telling you that, hey, Missy, it's time to keep a check on your life and just be in the moment and see how you're actually feeling about different things that are happening all around you. Okay, thought number one. Am I being too authentic with everything that I'm doing? Like, just one of those thoughts where, at 3 a.m. at night, I was just like, what's really happening? Because I'm just being so genuinely myself. Is it going to lead to a place wherein nobody relates with me and I just am this one person army and just trying to build something where I feel that a lot of people can relate with me? Because I feel that I am this person who is like, I would say, unfiltered. I talk about, I don't know, the messy side of my business. I am quite vocal about the things that, I don't know, just go not as per plan. And there are so many times when I have to deal with this imposter syndrome, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to be my own cheerleader. It's going to be all okay. And hopefully, I'll find my right tribe, I can say. So that is what it really gets to, because when I'm thinking about these certain other people, there I am coming across these thoughts, wherein people are putting out a very polished version of themselves, because there are these, I don't know, different set of people who are portraying it like they have it maybe all figured out. Maybe that's just for their gram. I don't know if that's the case. But they seem to have everything figured out. Like, their morning routines look just perfect. It almost feels like they have a personal brand manager who's handling it all for them. And here I am sitting with this sunflower as my co-host today, and just wondering if, everything's fine. But maybe it is, and maybe it's not. So I'm just gonna sort of like roll with it, because I feel that at the end of the day, I'm really not even trying to I'm really not even trying to build an army of people who are, I don't know, looking for some productivity guru to help them out. I'm actually looking for people who do relate with me, who I want to be able to connect with people who get this messy side of things and who feel that, you know what, it's okay. Building something is not always pretty, and there are going to be low days and there are going to be high days. But the important thing is going to be that we show up, right? So I think it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to be yourself and find the right people, because the way I see it is authenticity is never too much for the right people. It's just enough. And I think that just enough is exactly what I'm looking for. The question isn't whether you're too authentic, it's more about if you're attracting the right people with your authenticity and if that's your main purpose. Or are you just trying to show up as your authentic self just to sort of maybe avoid some sort of confrontation or actually going ahead and doing the work? So yeah, I think I do feel a little better after talking about it. And I'm gonna drink to that. Okay, time for thought number two. Everyone seems to have their plan sorted out, what their 5-year vision is gonna look like. Meanwhile, here I am, just confused and trying to wonder what exactly am I going to be doing even in December 2025, or to be very honest, what I'm going to be cooking for dinner after this is done. And this one is sort of hitting a little different and on a little, I would say, softer spot as well. Because, it's just become a norm these days, or maybe it's just the people that I'm following. I have no idea. But I scroll through LinkedIn, I scroll through Instagram, I'm reading something. It's all about people making their detailed vision, having a 5 year term plan, having their roadmap charted out, and things like that. And I don't. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. But you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a story here. So a couple of years back, I was in a therapy session, and my therapist asked me, or rather gave me a homework after the session was done, to envision what my life is going to look like as a 35-year-old. Okay. Yeah. And I just had to think about that and come back to her with what I see, what I picture there. And my next session was like 7 days after. And trust me on this, I spent the entirety of those 7 days, like, my every second thought in those 7 days was, what does it look like? And I couldn't picture it because, one, it felt like 35, ew, like that's old. I didn't want to picture that. But I mean, on a more serious note as well, because that was a decade from then, it was about, I don't know, it was hard. I sat with myself, I tried journaling. I my 10 a.m. shower thought was that, my coffee thought was that, my cooking thought was that. And you know what? I went with just a few things to her even after that. I told her that I don't know with whom I'm gonna be there, so I don't know who the person is. I don't know if I have kids or not, but I do know that I have a cute little dog somewhere in the picture there. And it just, I don't know, it was just a cute little thought. And I've drawn a really ugly dog, but we are gonna roll with it. Okay, you know what? Give me a moment. I'm gonna. Okay, so, it was just this thought that I don't know what I'm doing, who I'm with, and what exactly is going on in my life at the moment. So, all I could picture was something that was cozy. So, something that felt more like home and more like me, basically, a place that felt like super, super creative, super happy, and just I don't know, had a love of the dog. I could not picture how many crores ka business I'm gonna have, whether I'm gonna be with some kids or not by that time. But I just went with that, okay? And I think that that particular thing felt okay because it was more about me and how much I could picture in my life at the time. And I felt that having that kind of thought is somehow okay because it's your picture, right? It's your vision. And it's okay if you have lesser number of things sorted by then. There are CEOs who have a 5 year plan and then they run with it, they build teams with it. But to be very fair, there are also CEOs like me who probably just make a 1 year plan and then take it from there, because once that year ends, they plan the next growth plan. And I think that that should be okay. People should be comfortable with that. So I'm going to continue to be that person who takes it one step at a time, or let's say three steps at a time. But whatever my version looks like, I'm going to be okay with that version for a while. Now that I think of it, the whole reason why this particular 3 a.m. thought even had to occur in a negative way, because, well, right now I'm all chill about it and I'm sharing it with you. But why this thought occurred is because when this year started, I did not or could not come up with my vision board. I did one the year before, but when this year started, I was just not in a good headspace. So, because I could not do that, I think somewhere in my head, it still bugs me, and I keep this in my head like, you know what, where are you headed? What are you doing? Why didn't you make a vision board? Or why couldn't you put certain things down that you wanted in this year for yourself? But I'm going to change that thought, I think. So hopefully this 3 a.m. thought doesn't occur again, because I am just going to focus on what feels right in this moment, or what my next two steps are going to be, so that life feels better, I feel more productive, and hopefully I have better 3 a.m. thoughts. Okay, so here's my thought number three, which is, do penguins have knees? Okay, yes, that's something that happened, and I'm not gonna lie, my brain hopped from existential crisis, from authenticity to whether I have my life figured out, to penguins have knees. Well, and you know what? When this happens with you at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever, you lean in. You're not going to just give up that greater thought and just leap it off after that. No. So, as everyone would, I Googled it. And guess what? Penguins do have knees. So, how it actually works is, their legs are actually much taller than they appear to be, and they have knees that are hidden. Because, well, duh, what was I even thinking? Everyone has knees. How else do you think they would walk? But yeah, it was that, and that actually got me thinking. That this sort of aligns with everything that we've been speaking about as well right now, because not everything comes like on the surface. There could be complexities, or there could be parts of yourself that are hidden as well. So you should know that everybody else has a particular life, or has a particular complexity that you might not be aware of. So one, don't judge, but, or you know what, judge a little if you want, but don't compare. That is super important. Turns out penguins do have knees. I mean, it's just hidden inside their bodies, and they have actually much longer legs than it appears in front of us. And now that I think of it, that somehow fits as a perfect metaphor for everything that we've been talking about today, which is, not everything might be visible on the surface. Everyone can have certain hidden complexities that we might not know about. Oh, and also that does mean that we could be having some hidden capabilities too. Maybe that's just not visible for the world yet. And so the next time you're sitting and comparing yourself to, someone else's highlight reel, and you're thinking about your behind the scenes, just maybe remind yourself penguins have knees, which is just a simple reminder that there's always more going on beneath the surface. My thought number four is actually a brutal one, and something that hit me quite personally as well. Um, Unfiltered thought. He bought a car last month, and here I am struggling to manage my bank account at the end of the month, thinking if I can afford to go out for drinks and dinner with a friend. I'm being so specific and so real with this one, because it actually stung a little. Because, all throughout it was going on that I felt like I was making progress. I was working towards something bigger, and things have been just fine. And then, I don't know, just casually, someone just happens to mention that, oh, they just got a loan to get a new house, or they made a down payment to their car, or something like that. And From there on, it's a spiral, because then you're all about, am I doing it correct? Am I doing anything wrong? Am I behind? Should I have gone the other route? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? And trust me, it's not a good spiral to deal with. But this morning, when I woke up, and a little while back as well, when I was just sort of gathering my thoughts to talk about here, I realized that, you know what, I was just comparing my chapter 3 to his chapter 10, and that is why it felt wrong. My timeline is just mine. Maybe when he was buying cars, or when he was accumulating stuff, if I can call it, I was accumulating capability, or I was investing in my skills. And that's fine, right? Maybe they have different expenses. Maybe they have some inherited money that they're using for it. It could be a ton of other things. And the phase that I am in my life, that's okay for me, because I should be feeling proud of myself for being in that phase. I'm happy with the progress I'm making. It's okay. Maybe my 2 years from now will also look different from their 2 years from now. And I think it was a hard pill to swallow, because sometimes being in a broke founder era isn't as pretty as it can look like for some people. But you know what? This is just going to be one of those moments that I smile about, watching this YouTube video and being like, now I'm in my wealthy founder era. Now I have a car. Now I have a house and a cute little doggo. And I don't know, I think life will look better. Life will look different. But we're going to be okay. So sometimes, just whenever those spiraling 3 a.m. thoughts come to you, sleep it off. It gets better in the morning, because for me it did. And I know for everyone else it will too. Okay, I guess my brain was saving the heaviest one for the last, and by this point it was already like 5 a.m. ish. All the penguins were gone, all the other thoughts were gone, and then this one arrives, which is, am I doing the right thing by leaving my relationships aside and marrying my work at the moment? And this one really kept me up, because it's the most sensitive one as well, and it's the most difficult one to answer, because it just feels like that I'm choosing my work repeatedly over my relationships, sometimes when I don't want to, and sometimes feeling bad about it while doing it, even though that's the only thing I want. Because missing dinners because of client deadlines, shorter phone calls with friends because I have some work to do, or because my brain is just elsewhere, dating in theoretical life, but not really uh, dating anyone in particular, because while I'm focused on growth at the moment, that can hurt a little. And in those moments, it it can sort of make you feel like, am I building something really amazing, or am I building something great, but I'm using that as an excuse to avoid the messiness of the relationships that's to come with it? And that was difficult to deal with. And you know what? The hardest part of building something good isn't the work that you're putting in, it's actually explaining to the people you love that why work is coming first right now. Because here's the thing, na, the people in your life don't always see the vision that you are seeing. What they see is that you're choosing your laptop over dinner, or that you're choosing potential over present. And how do you explain to them? How do you explain this thing to them, that what I'm actually sacrificing versus what I'm actually building? And somehow in my head, it's fitting. The priorities are fitting right now. But it still gets you thinking, am I focusing too well, or am I just being selfish? Am I investing in a future that could, I don't know, benefit everyone that I care about? That could benefit me in having the life that I want. But here's what my wiser self is coming up with. Sometimes choosing your work is choosing your people, just with a longer timeline. The answer to this isn't too black and white, but I think the right question that you need to ask is, are you sacrificing relationships to avoid vulnerability? Or Are you investing in your work and time to build something so meaningful so that you can enjoy it with the people you love the most? So, technically, you're taking care of the future of those people and of your future with those people. So after I was done, after I like caught up on some sleep and had made my morning coffee, I realized something. All of these daunting 3 a.m. thoughts started to look smaller. Because you know what? They really are small enough. They were just overpowering in the quiet of the night. And morning felt fine when I was more caffeinated, when I was more logical in my head in the morning and thinking with a fresher head. Everything seemed okay because I think all of those 3 a.m. thoughts are practically just regular thoughts. Everyone else is having them. It's just that at night when they come, they are wearing fear as accessories, which is why it just gets more troublesome for you. Am I too authentic? For some people, yes. But for the right people, I'm exactly authentic enough. And that's good with me. Do others have better 5 year plans than me? Not really. Others have other plans. They have different plans. Mine maybe just involve more improvisation and apparently more penguin research. Are my finances behind? I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But what am I going to get by comparing it with someone else? I'd rather just invest all that energy and thought into actually working towards something that can get my finances up, that can help me build something that's going to get in more money, and that can just help me live the kind of life that I want. And I think I'm going to be good with that. And the final one, whether I am sacrificing my relationships for my work. I think for now, my 8 a.m. thought told me that, you know what, you're in a focus season right now, and season's gonna change. So everything's okay. It's just about what you have to prioritize in which season to get the best out of it. So, yeah, I think I am gonna settle for the thoughts that might seem urgent at 3 a.m. are just regular thoughts at 9 a.m. And life goes on and life feels pretty again, and you should continue to work and build whatever you are building and feel okay about it. I'm thinking about it, like in my head I'm like, okay, me worrying about authenticity means that maybe I'm actually worried about building real connections, which is a good thing. Or me trying to worry my brain up with the whole 5 year plan situation is just me trying to figure out whether everything that I'm doing is in the right direction or not. And I think being focused towards a right direction, there's nothing wrong with it, right? And just maybe the way I am looking at it now, and let's say when I'm thinking about my relationship choices and work choices and like what my focus is looking like when, it's just more about me wanting to get some meaningful relationships in my life, some people who truly understand me and who understand what I'm building. And having that sort of filter brain is actually a positive thing. Look at that. We have turned our 3 a.m. anxiety into this fun little, maybe awkward, maybe chatty episode, but episode nonetheless. And thanks for being my co host, my sunflower. And thanks to all of you who stuck by till this point to actually watch the episode and maybe just learn a little bit, or if not learn, maybe just get yourself in that same space as, you know what, you're on this couch with me and it's going to be okay. So, if any of these thoughts that I blabbered about for I don't know how long now, um, penguin thoughts or relationship thoughts or financial troubles or where am I headed in my life thoughts, all of that chatter in your brain, just know that you're not alone. And at the end of the day, we are all just winging it with varied degrees of confidence and caffeine. And you know what? If you need someone to chat about it with, hit me up on my LinkedIn or my Instagram. I leave the links below, but hit me up and let's catch up. Let's talk about what's keeping you up at night and let's see if I can help you out in any way. Wow, okay, so that was it about this episode of Zero Decks Given by Astha. And Hopefully, next time I'll be back with my co host, much better lighting. But until then, see you.